America's educational system is undergoing a massive transformation. From significant downsizing at the Department of Education to individual schools still playing academic catch-up from the COVID pandemic. For tonight's interview, we talk with former Education Secretary John B. King. His new book, Teacher by Teacher, highlights why good teachers can improve the system and change a student's life. John, when you became Education Secretary, you said teachers are the reason I am alive, and that's at the center of your book. Explain what that means.
Sure. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York City. Both my parents were public school teachers, but they both passed away when I was a kid. My mom when I was 8, my dad when I was 12. And in the period when I was just my dad, my dad was struggling with Alzheimer's. Home was incredibly difficult. And the thing that saved me was school. It was the one place that was safe, nurturing, supportive, engaging.
Is it harder to be a teacher now?
I think so, for a couple of reasons. One is there are a whole set of things that teachers worry about today that didn't have to worry about, like school shootings, like the level of addiction that we see in so many communities around the country. Those things weren't something that folks needed to worry about 30 years ago. I also think technology has really changed things. I'm very excited about the states that are putting in place cell phone bans from bell to bell, because the cell phones are a huge distraction and they can work against students learning and building relationships with peers.
You and I spoke during the sort of thick of the COVID pandemic, and you were concerned about almost a lost generation. What's your assessment now of the state of teaching and also the state of the COVID generation in terms of how they're doing in terms of what they need to learn?
I'm still very worried. You know, the National Assessment of Educational Progress results showed that students' academic performance is still below where it was before COVID. We also have a real crisis of chronic absenteeism in the country. I think COVID has contributed to both of those issues. Some states have really made a big bet on intensive tutoring, where students are working with an adult who gets to know them over time, provides them with the academic support they need to catch up. We ought to be investing more in that kind of intervention, and we ought to be investing more in mental health supports, social workers, school psychologists, school counselors, because so many students through the COVID experience felt a lot of isolation.
You write that you never tire of going to graduation, so we're about to be in graduation season. What would you tell graduates now?
Look, I would talk to them about celebrating the moment, right, and enjoying their moment of achievement, but also thinking about how they're going to pay it forward, how they are going to make a difference in society for other people. And I would want college students to go out in the world, whatever they choose for their profession, still committed to contributing to the community.
And finally, John, you were Secretary of Education. There are a great deal of changes going on at your former department. What's your assessment?
I'm very worried. Look, at the end of the day, the Education Department has really important functions. Getting resources to vulnerable students, low-income students, students with disabilities, our federal financial aid system that makes it possible for low and middle-income Americans to access higher education. Civil rights enforcement, it's the place you go if you've experienced discrimination on the basis of race or sex or disability. Information and transparency. We need to know how students are doing so we know where we need to take steps to improve. All of that is under threat. There are half as many people working at the department today as there were on January 20th. That is bad for the country. And if we see cuts to these major programs going forward, it is going to undermine the health of our economy and our democracy.